The rules are now out. Jake Paul getting ready for it, Anthony Joshua fight, and some of these rules may surprise some of you guys.
Both fighters will be using 10-ounce gloves for the duration.
And Anthony Joshua has a weight limit of 245 pounds.
That's dangerous. That's dangerous.
Here's the part that truly sent the internet into chaos. These weren't soft entertainment-style rules meant to shield Jake. These were Queensberry rules. The same unforgiving standard used in real heavyweight battles. No loopholes. No exhibition protection. 8 rounds of 3 minutes each. A full 24 minutes of potential destruction.
Anthony Joshua is going to take on the YouTuber turned boxer Jake Paul in a professional bout in Miami next month. The former world heavyweight champion.
Jake Paul deluded enough to think it was a good option to get in the ring with Anthony Joshua.
And the boxing world didn't simply react. It detonated. Analysts, promoters, former heavyweights, and casual fans all sounded like they were reading a pre-written obituary. There was no sugarcoating it. This was a man voluntarily stepping into a scenario where the odds were comically against him. Joshua isn't engaging in influencer theatrics. This is a fighter who has battled and beaten 260-pound knockout beasts, world champions, and legitimate elite contenders. Joshua isn't entering a staged attraction. He's entering a professional arena with Jake Paul and escorting him out before the first bell even sounds.
Jake's a good novice, and if he wanted to have a legitimate career in boxing, then he would climb the domestic rankings in America, and he might even make top.
Jake had spent years carefully building this empire. The bravado, the antics, the online spectacles, the viral moments. But with one rule sheet, Joshua shattered it like fragile glass. People no longer asked who will win. The question became something far harsher and far more pressing. How long can Jake endure? Minutes, rounds, or just seconds?
Risk. It's a huge risk. You can't look away from it.
You've got to be in it to win it, and AJ was in the right place to maximise the opportunity around him, and he has defined a sensational legacy
after this. So, what are the rules? The bout will take place at a heavyweight, obviously. It's going to be 8 3-minute rounds. You might think, well, that's better for Jake Paul, and I'm thinking, not really, it's better for Anthony Joshua, because he's just going to go all out for them 8.
The second those official fight rules were released, everything around Jake Paul went pitch dark. Not excitement, not noise, not the influencer chaos he thrives in. Darkness. Anthony Joshua ripped away the illusion surrounding the event. He showed what this truly was going to be, a fully sanctioned heavyweight showdown on December 19, 2025 at Miami's Casa Center, where one man leaves standing and the other is in real danger of being crushed.
We're using 10-ounce gloves for the duration of it.
Jake Paul is in a complete collapse as Anthony Joshua unveiled the full Queensberry rules for their December 19th fight. 10-ounce gloves, real knockouts, official records, and Jake instantly looked like a man realizing he signed his own career death warrant. What was meant to boost Jake's hype became a public execution notice exposing how wildly outmatched he is under true heavyweight standards. Jake Paul, Anthony Joshua.
Test is a professional bout and will go on the boys' records. But that being said, this is heavyweight boxing, anything can happen. I'm going to give you my prediction right.
10-ounce gloves, thin, dangerous, built to deliver maximum damage. No headgear, no slowing the pace, no referee treating a YouTuber gently as he tries to last if Joshua lands a clean knockout shot. And nearly every analyst, fan, and likely his own team believes he will. The result remains on Jake's professional record forever.
200 pound versus 252 pound. We got a 252 pounder in Anthony Joshua.
Joshua didn't just approve these rules, he insisted on them. Every detail screams legitimacy. Every condition drags Jake out of the influencer comfort zone and into an authentic fight that can, and likely will, break him. His usual advantages are gone. His quickness means nothing against someone who has thrown and absorbed hundreds of genuine heavyweight punches, and his size barely registers against the threat Joshua poses. His ability to bully smaller or fading opponents becomes meaningless. Joshua structured the battleground so thoroughly that the matchup favors him in every possible way. Pace, strategy, raw power, endurance, psychology. And then comes the weight limit. 245 pounds for Joshua. Lean enough to move like a hunter and heavy enough to shake bones and confidence together. 8 rounds, 3 minutes each, 10-ounce gloves, and a legal knockout. Enough to make anyone nervous. Jake's entire cruiserweight toolkit suddenly looks like a sparkler next to a flamethrower. Every jab, hook, and counter Joshua throws will land with the force of a man who has studied, withstood, and destroyed fighters 20 pounds heavier and vastly more seasoned.
We just want to see it because there's a lot of hate out here on influencer boxing. A lot of people have got different opinions on boxing these days. But I want to ask you, do you?
The more people examined the rules, the worse it appeared for Jake. Fans began calling it a death chamber because Jake has nothing to rely on. Under exhibition rules, he could survive. Under influencer rules, he could stall. But under heavyweight rules, there's absolutely nowhere to run. Every moment of every round grants Joshua full permission to unleash the same brutality he used on authentic world champions. Jake went from shaping narratives to walking blindfolded into a battlefield he assumed he understood but clearly did not.
If this is a real, legitimate fight, Jake Paul is absolutely crazy. If not crazy, he's super brave. And it'll be interesting to see.
Joshua even said it himself, no mercy. And when Anthony Joshua says that, it lands differently. But this wasn't a marketing slogan. It was a proclamation, a cold vow. You could almost feel the boxing world freeze when he said it because they understood exactly what no mercy from him entails. It looks like men collapsing from body shots. It looks like knockouts that permanently end careers. It looks like something Jake Paul has never experienced in his entire life. The impact of a natural heavyweight armed with professional precision.
It can happen in a variety of ways, various ways, but I'm not dependent on punch power.
That statement alone fractured something in Jake's image. For the first time in years, he didn't appear in control. His interviews seemed unsteady, his jokes sounded forced, his confidence felt uneven, and his fans sensed it as well. The same people who used to hype him up suddenly sounded anxious. Even his diehards admitted they were worried. That's not normal. That's the atmosphere you get when the crowd detects danger before the fighter does.
Heavyweight fight against an elite world champion in his prime. When I beat Anthony Joshua, every doubt will disappear. He's talking to you, Charlamagne.
Okay.
And it makes sense. Jake built his reputation on being the disruptor. The guy who shocked everyone. The man who embarrassed fighters who took him lightly. But Joshua didn't take him lightly. Joshua designed the rules so Jake couldn't play his usual tricks. He removed every safety net Jake ever depended on. This wasn't influencer boxing or some crossover spectacle anymore. This was a heavyweight finisher standing across from a cruiserweight performer. Once the rules became public, it stopped feeling like hype. It felt like a countdown. December 19th wasn't just a fight date anymore, it became a warning label. The day Jake Paul walks into something bigger, harder, and far more violent than anything he's ever faced. And whether he sees it or not, the world already made up its mind. Jake didn't just lose the narrative, he lost the room.
Jake away got his sleep, all right,
Okay.
and put Jake Paul to sleep. And I ain't taking nothing from Jake Paul. I'm just telling you, I respect the fact that Jake Paul is getting in the ring with somebody like Anthony Joshua, but I'm telling you, night.
All Joshua did was release the rules, yet those rules revealed the entire story. Jake Paul entered believing this was a spectacle. Joshua turned it into a professional execution, and the internet instantly understood what that meant.
Heavy puncher, but not as evasive. So I think if Jake has the right game plan, he has a pretty good shot of winning this.
Joshua made it brutally clear he wasn't treating Jake like a celebrity guest fighter or some crossover sideshow. No, he spoke about Jake the same way he talked about real heavyweight threats. Fighters like Vladimir Klitschko, Dillian White, Kubrat Pulev, using that same cold, clipped tone he reserves for when promotion ends. He's hunting, and Jake felt that shift. The man who built his brand on chest puffing and untouchable energy suddenly looked like he'd been unplugged. Every interview after that moment, his confidence had this strange, shaky I'm fine tone. The same sound people make when they're seconds away from breaking down. Even his fans noticed.
Sounds like there's 50 million reasons why Anthony Joshua's taken this fight. In my head, I never ever thought this fight would happen. Why? because of Anthony Joshua's desire to be in the history books, to be a 3-time heavyweight champion of the world. To me, it shows me this.
Joshua wasn't just issuing a threat, he was establishing the tone for a legitimate fight. Not a spectacle, not a money stunt, not a playful experiment, an actual fight that will be permanently recorded in the professional books. And he said it clearly, he's not here to entertain Jake Paul's audience, he's here to erase him. Erase his confidence, erase his hype, erase the entire storyline Jake built. When Joshua speaks like that, he means it. He doesn't do empty threats. He delivers damage. And Jake Paul stepped straight into the crosshairs.
Be the same for all of us, you know. Honestly, all of us, many a greats have walked it before. All of the undercard are going to walk it, I'm going to walk it, I'm going to feel just like any of them. But when I step into that ring, that's when I switch on and I'm ready.
But the true brutality isn't just in what Joshua said. It's in how the rules reinforce everything. These aren't influencer rules. These aren't YouTube boxing rules. These are full, unforgiving professional Queensberry rules. The exact battlefield where Joshua has sent elite heavyweights into the shadows. And the moment those rules became official, it was like someone unplugged Jake Paul's entire strategy board.
Tank Davis, but it's a more winnable fight than Gervonta Tank Davis.
Let's start with the basics. Heavyweight rules do not favor Jake Paul. He's a cruiserweight at best. And even as a cruiserweight, his power only looks impressive when he's punching men much smaller or long past their prime. But under real heavyweight conditions, his punches practically become gentle taps. Anthony Joshua has absorbed shots from men who hit like human wrecking balls, real 260-pound destroyers with decades of skill. And he still stayed upright. So Jake's YouTube-era power is about to feel like a mosquito landing on a battleship.
That it's a hopeless and potentially dangerous mismatch.
And the weight limit is insane. Joshua being capped at 245 pounds is terrifying for Jake because that's Joshua at his most dangerous. At that weight, he's quick enough to slip punches, sharp enough to slice through defenses, yet still heavy enough to shake bones with a jab. Imagine what the right hand does at that weight. Actually, Jake definitely shouldn't imagine it.
I quite hope for Jake Paul's long-term well-being that he does see it as a bit of a sparring exercise and something to get a few minutes under his belt in a ring in front of a big crowd before going on to fight Tyson Fury.
Then there's the glove size, 10 ounces. That's basically leather-wrapped hand grenades. These aren't protective. They're built to transmit damage with maximum effect. No headgear means pure, clean power transfer. If Joshua lands clean even once, the lights might dim. Add 8 full 3-minute rounds on top of that, and Jake is stepping into a world he has never lived in. 3 minutes with a true heavyweight feels like 3 hours underwater.
So I think AJ will struggle because it's an no-win situation. If he goes in there and Jake Paul lasts the distance, what does he tell you about AJ? Apart from he's just then an extra 50.
These rules don't just favor Joshua. They expose Jake. They tear away every illusion that's protected his brand for years. Under influencer rules, Jake could rely on awkward pacing, sloppy footwork, and cardio tricks. Under heavyweight rules, it's pure survival. The distance is longer. The power is real. The pressure is suffocating. There's no friendly referee ready to jump in and give Jake breathing room. Joshua can walk him down, cut the ring, and trap him exactly the way he traps professional contenders.
And they both earned a spectacular amount of money, and this will be likewise. But I think anybody expecting a good fight, I think they're looking at the wrong thing, because it ain't going to be a good fight. If this is on the
This isn't Jake stepping into a boxing match. This is Jake stepping into a test he wasn't designed for. A test Joshua has already passed against world champions. These rules drag Jake out of the influencer sandbox and drop him straight into a shark tank where everyone is bigger, stronger, smarter, and far more violent. And in that tank, Jake Paul isn't the star. He's the appetizer.
10-ounce gloves, heavyweight, Jake Paul can punch hard, but do I think that's going to happen? Absolutely not.
Every detail in these rules carries the same message. Joshua didn't show up to joke around with a YouTuber. He came to end the illusion. And the closer we get to December 19th, the clearer it becomes that Jake Paul's confidence didn't just slip, it collapsed the moment he realized the fight no longer followed his rules. It follows Joshua's. And that changes everything.
And for Joshua, it's pretty simple. He's been out for quite a bit of time. He comes back and does one of the biggest events in the world.
When the rules were released, the boxing world didn't just respond. It exploded. Analysts, promoters, retired icons, everyone scrambled to their microphones like they'd just seen the apocalypse scheduled for December 19th. Veteran heavyweights who've taken punches from real giants took one look at Jake, a cruiserweight with influencer swagger, and basically said, yeah, this kid is not walking out the same. They're talking jaw structure, eyelids, confidence, everything. When legends who fought 260-pound monsters warn a fight is too dangerous, you know you've drifted into territory where common sense has already left the room.
Silencing the doubters and putting himself in a position to be in conversation for a belt, and he gets that if he beats him.
Even promoters, who usually adore chaos because chaos equals profit, were shaking their heads. They were calling this matchup reckless and career-ending. And naturally, Netflix got roasted for approving something that looks less like a boxing match and more like a slow-motion human sacrifice. Commentators weren't bothering to hide concern. They outright accused Netflix of valuing viewership over Jake Paul's organs staying where they belong. And let's be honest, mismatch doesn't come close. That word is too soft, too polite. What everyone sees is a man willingly entering a situation where the result isn't a debate. It's a countdown. Execution became the headline overnight. And truthfully, it fits.
I think there's fear of injury in any sport, number one. Number two, I would say if you look at any boxing event on any given day, there's much larger mismatches than what this fight is.
But the real shockwave didn't come from experts. It came from Jake's own empire caving in around him. The guy who built his persona on unwavering confidence suddenly sounded like someone reading his final message before heading off to war. His tone shifted from loud and bulletproof to oddly defensive, like he was trying to reassure himself he made the right call. Spoiler, he didn't. And his fans sensed the fear before Jake ever admitted it. People begged him to pull out, as if he were about to step into traffic. Even his most devoted supporters looked uneasy. And you know it's bad when those people start wavering. Jake built his brand on bravado, dominance, and chest-thumping certainty. But once the rules dropped, every crack in that image lit up like neon.
Perhaps many of the fighters that Paul has taken on, Joshua isn't past it. He's still a prime fighter, even if he's not fought 50 months due to those injuries. But some are fearing that there could be a serious injury.
The internet smelled blood instantly. Overnight, Jake went from showman to punchline. Memes, reaction clips, breakdowns about why Joshua hits like a semi-truck disguised as a human being. The internet treated Jake's upcoming ring walk like a funeral procession. Once your audience stops laughing with you and starts laughing at you, your empire is splitting down the middle.
Look, you have to look at the experience that Jake has gained in the 5 years he's been in the sport. To be in your 12th or 13th fight in front of 80,000 people at AT&T Stadium in front of 125 million viewers, that's not experience you can gain.
And then we reach the most embarrassing part for Jake, the rule sheet itself. The single document that exposed his absolute worst nightmare. For years, Jake controlled narratives by bending formats, exhibition rules, glove sizes, hand-picked opponents, and convenient loopholes. He turned boxing into YouTube theater, and it worked. But now he's trapped in a real, fully sanctioned heavyweight fight. No shortcuts. No escapes. Every punch Joshua throws will land squarely on Jake's permanent professional record.
Who do I think is going to win this fight and how? Well, if I said to you, Jake Paul is going to win this fight by knockout, you would think I'm absolutely crazy.
And the knockout, when it arrives, will flip Jake's entire world upside down. He can't claim it wasn't real boxing. He can't hide behind influencer rule sets. This loss will be stamped into his career like a billboard-sized reminder that he soared too close to the sun and got absolutely vaporized.
So he's going to go into that event very calm and very composed. And I fully believe that he does 100% think he's going to beat Anthony Joshua, yeah.
The 8-round layout makes everything even worse. People assume longer rounds help Jake survive, but what they don't understand is that it gives Anthony Joshua more time to unload freely. Joshua doesn't need to ration his energy. He doesn't need to hold back. 8 rounds for him is essentially a brisk workout where he can apply non-stop pressure until something gives. And everyone knows what that something is. Every line in that rule sheet delivers the same message. Jake, this is not your domain. And you're about to learn that the hard way.
It's two completely different specimens in there. I can't see any version of reality where Jake Paul somehow finds a way to win one round, let alone win.
There's a reason people keep calling this fight predator versus prey. And it's not just theatrics. It's because that's exactly what it resembles. Anthony Joshua has spent his whole career battling men built like armored vehicles who punch like demolition crews. He has fought heavyweight monsters who make average humans look like decorative plants. Meanwhile, Jake, the toughest opponents he's faced were UFC veterans halfway through retirement chasing payday number 47. Joshua enters this fight with the calm, silent assurance of a man who has seen every punch, every style, every nightmare, and survived them all. Jake walks in like someone who accidentally selected the wrong difficulty level. Under full professional rules, Joshua doesn't need to study Jake. He doesn't need to analyze him. The first clean punch will tell Jake everything. He is in the wrong place, with the wrong opponent, at the wrong moment.
I just think fights like this just undermine it. They undermine those moments when terrible things do happen and everybody wrings their hands. Why send in a guy like Anthony Joshua, a seasoned pro, against a guy that, I don't know. It leaves a really nasty taste.
And the psychological mismatch might be the biggest gap of all. Joshua looks like he's preparing for a casual sparring session. Jake looks like he's preparing a farewell tour. Joshua's expression carries that cold, seasoned calm, the kind seen on fighters who already know the ending. Jake's expression reads like, I regret every decision that led me here. And then there's the public verdict, which is somehow even harsher than the experts. Comment sections everywhere predict round 1 to 3 knockouts like it's a voting poll. People aren't debating who wins. That conversation died the moment the rules were released. They're debating how fast Jake drops and whether his consciousness will still be on speaking terms with his body afterward. Fans openly admit they're not watching for competitiveness. They're tuning in to see whether Jake survives long enough to sit down again. Boxing purists are treating this card like a symbolic offering, influencer culture being dragged into the ring and fed to a real heavyweight to restore balance. The world isn't waiting for a fight anymore. It's waiting for the moment Jake Paul's empire, his bravado, his showmanship, his undefeated aura finally collapses under 245 pounds of unfiltered reality.